I am a child of the 80s. When I was growing up, we were always being warned about our permanent record and not to do certain things because it will go down on our permanent record. It was something that was joked about a lot in popular media. For example, when I was a kid, the movie Animal House was always playing on HBO. There is a scene at the beginning where Chip Diller, played by a very young Kevin Bacon, is rushing the Omega House, and the smarmy Greg Marmalard is touting the virtues of their house and that there are a lot of great leaders there. And that's something that will never look bad on your permanent record. Then there is the great Violent Femme song, Kiss Off, and it's got this awesome line in the middle where they say, I hope you know that this will go down on your permanent record. And also, Keanu Reeves was in a movie called Permanent Record that was a high school movie, and it was one of his very first movies in the 1980s. So, anyhow, as a result of all this, we grew up thinking that this permanent record wasn't a real thing. As it turns out, when it comes to US immigration, it is. And the permanent record is in the form of your FBI criminal background check. So, what is this FBI criminal background check? You will also hear it referred to as your rap sheet. As a matter of fact, the FBI even calls it your rap sheet on their website. And so it is a record of every time that you have been arrested, every time that they have taken your fingerprints, and every time that you have had a mugshot taken. And so a lot of countries will require you to submit your criminal background check as part of your visa application. And often they will require your background check to be apostilled. That's where you get a special stamp on it from the federal government verifying that this is an official document. Also, a lot of countries will not let you in. They will not grant you a visa if you have a criminal background or if you have certain things on your criminal background and they deem that you might be a threat to public safety. A lot of European countries and a lot of Asian countries, Australia, New Zealand, if you have things on your criminal background, they will not let you in. And here's the real negative thing. You might think about, hey, let me try to get my criminal arrest expunged. There's also a process called expunction. You could also try getting something sealed. That's good for if you are trying to apply for a job. It will not show up in an employment background check, but your different arrests and fingerprints and mugshots will always be on your FBI criminal background check. You can't take those things off. And so that's one really good reason that you don't want to get in trouble, that you don't want to get arrested. So, how do you get a copy of your FBI criminal background check? Well, you can go to the FBI website. You can go to FBI.gov. It is a very simple form that you fill out. It only costs $18 in order to get that. But one of the requirements is that you get fingerprinted. And you can get fingerprinted at a private agency and then send the fingerprints in. Or you can try doing what I tried to do, which is to go to the US Post Office in order to get fingerprinted. Not every post office has the equipment to take your fingerprints. As a matter of fact, in Seattle, there were probably only about 4 or 5 around me that had it. But it's not a great way to go. And as a matter of fact, I ended up trying to get my fingerprints taken 3 different times by the post office. I remember one time they had a sign up that, hey, we're not doing fingerprinting today. I forget what happened the second time, but the third time I got to the counter and asked to get fingerprinted, well, it's never a good sign when the guy at the counter is like, and he said, I'll try to do it. I'll warn you, our machines rarely work. Maybe about 1 in 10 times, they'll actually produce the fingerprints. And he really tried to get the machine to work and to get it to register my fingerprints. He tried different solutions on my fingers to get it to show up, but it was just not having a good day. And so I was on a time crunch. The visa that I was applying for had a deadline before it was no longer going to be available anymore. And so I needed to get the background check. I needed to get it apostilled. I needed to get it sent in as part of my application. So I decided to go with one of the private agencies that will submit the application for you. And it's a little bit more expensive. So by doing it through the government, it would be $18 for the application plus $50 for the fingerprints. Through this private company, it was $108. So it wasn't that much more expensive. However, it was a whole lot easier and quicker. I went down to the office. It was right in downtown Seattle. Right by the Amazon Spheres, if you know where those are. But I went into the office. I was about 20 minutes early. The guy there was super friendly, brought me in, took my fingerprints. I was in and out of there in 5 minutes. And then I had the PDF of my FBI criminal background check in about 2 or 3 hours after that. And since then, that's the place where I've recommended all of my friends go for their fingerprints and for their FBI criminal background check. So the last thing I want to end with is a warning about this permanent record, this FBI criminal background check. This is another reason not to get in trouble. And I know, when people are young, they can make mistakes with alcohol. Maybe they get arrested for shoplifting. Maybe they do some vandalism. Maybe there's some various different pranks. Maybe they get involved with drugs or other criminal activity. And the sad thing is, this stuff will follow you around the rest of your life. And this stuff will prevent you from being able to apply for visas for a number of different countries. And so, unfortunately, now it's part of the calculus that we are growing up with. This is something that parents might want to talk to their children about, that here is another reason that you don't want to get in trouble with the law. Because when I was growing up, we did not know that one day the US would be a failing democracy or going through what it is going through these days, and that I would want to leave. Yes, when I was younger, we had romantic notions of being like F. Scott Fitzgerald or Ernest Hemingway and going to Spain or France and trying to write literature, that whole sort of thing. And for whatever reason, it never happened to me. But now here I am in my 50s where it's like, holy cow, I am not sure I feel safe in my home country anymore. So I want to live somewhere else. And so it really sucks for friends of mine who may be in their late teens or in their 20s or in their 30s. They got in trouble with the law and now they're trying to go out to a different country. And the fact that they got arrested for various different things is holding them back. And so, again, I just don't want others to face the same sort of problems that friends of mine did. So, again, watch out. There really is something called a permanent record. So anyhow, let me know what you think, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.